Palworld's release was so popular that Nintendo filed over 100 patents this week because of it. See, the thing is, Pokemon had a chance. Almost 30 years of chances, one after another, and yet refused to innovate, refused to deliver. So let's all laugh at Nintendo and Pokemon together. Yes, that rhymed. Hit the like button and subscribe, baby. Hit the notification bell, and by the way, go follow me on Twitter. I'm going viral over there almost every day making fun of these dweebs at Sir Manix. Now, when Palworld was breaking records this week, while this whole thing was going on, Nintendo was busy paying off their failed lawyers, which seems to be where Nintendo's budget is going towards, because it's not going towards their games. We all know that with how bad they look. Now, the funny thing is, I actually think Nintendo would sue themselves if they could. And I say that not even kidding, because they already did that. They literally copyright strike their own content on Twitter. Yeah, it's actually gotten that bad. See, Nintendo will do anything other than create a good, modern Pokemon game that's up to date with the standard of recent AAA games. Because Palworld has done more with this update, with this release, than Pokemon has done in over 20 years. Now, what happened with Palworld this week is actually insane. The significance is just out of this world. Palworld was peaking at around 58,000 concurrent players on Steam. It's actually way more than Bungie's disgusting, nonsensical, moronic, diabolical game Marathon could hope for. See, Marathon had like 10,000 players on Steam, and Bungie called it a return to form and a success for Bungie. How embarrassing. Now compare that to the full release of Palworld, which now has currently 961,867 players. That is, if you're a mathematician, over a 1700% jump in a single month. And it's done it not only in one weekend, it's done it in 2 weekends. Think about it, it has more concurrent players than Counter-Strike. That's a massive flex. What's amazing about this is really that the Palworld developers only focused on one thing. What do our gamers actually want? I know it's a shocking concept. And they're doing all of this while they're under an active patent lawsuit from Nintendo. Now, I gotta be honest, after playing it for a while, this release is the first time I actually stayed up past 3 AM since Gears of War 3. I never thought a survival game like this could get me the way Palworld has gotten me. I've played, you know, Grounded, The Forest, and all these other games, and this is the first one that I genuinely can't stop playing. And I actually look forward to grinding every time I play it. Now, that's what I think. What about the people online? What do they think? One of the reviews I saw was by someone called Hello, I'm Callie. My honest review on Palworld is that it is everything I asked for from a Pokemon game for years and never got. By the way, that's a running theme with a lot of these reviews. Endless content I can play side by side with my friends without the hassle of lag through the Nintendo network. 10 out of 10, can't stop playing. So yeah, it's clearly resonating with people who yearn for a Pokemon game like this, and it never came. Here's another one. And here's another fella whose name is like a Pokemon, Glammed Stall, playing Palworld and remembering that it was almost robbed from us by Pokemon. Then looking at the new Pokemon gameplay and how and stupid it is bolsters my anger exponentially. See, if you're a Nintendo fan and a Pokemon fan, you should be ecstatic that Palworld is actually successful, because it forces the lazy millennial bums at Nintendo to actually create something memorable instead of just the usual copy and paste. Because Palworld is the game that made me learn to hate Nintendo. Nintendo refused to make a good Pokemon game and then tried to destroy a competitor through stupid, bogus lawsuits instead of just creating a good Pokemon game. Now, not only did Nintendo's lawsuits fail to stop people supporting the game or supporting Palworld, it had a complete opposite effect. The players actually increased their support as a rebellion against Nintendo's disgusting, unethical behavior. And the irony is that you have people say, oh my god, Palworld is copying Pokemon! The irony of that is not lost on me, because when Pokemon ripped off designs from, I don't know, Dragon Quest, most of which were designed by Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball. So yeah, you should probably shut the up on that one. Look, if you take a step back, if anything, Palworld is probably more like Digimon than Pokemon if you actually play it. And by the way, like I said, I've been playing the game pretty much all day, and I can tell you it's far better than any Pokemon game I've ever played, I'm being honest. Especially in recent memory. So yeah, is it any surprise that Nintendo tried to stop these guys? Absolutely not. Palworld isn't the cheap knockoff, you stupid fanboys, it's the upgrade. So yeah, Nintendo unironically trying to shut down Palworld made it bigger than it probably would would have been on its own. So yeah, good job shooting yourself in the foot, Nintendo, with that. And by the way, can I just say, Palworld 100% deserves its success. With or without Nintendo's diabolical behavior, because Palworld is what Pokemon should be. Because we're getting so much content with Palworld, whereas over at Nintendo, we're getting served up slop for $70. That's just getting eaten up by the Nintendo fanboys. See, not everybody is happy about Palworld. The Access Media and the Nintendo fan shills are, you know, they're getting very upset. The industry is getting very upset too. The thing is, we know why the Nintendo fanboys are upset, because they're literally some of the most pathetic jizz rags on the planet. But why is the industry getting upset? Well, you have companies like EA and Sony getting mad because they invest a ton of money into slop games and live service, and the result they get is Concord. Whereas they look over at indie developers, unknown developers, earning hundreds of millions of dollars that slip right past the investors. That's what pisses them off the most. It's incredible how the AAA industry doesn't ask the question, you know, what could we learn from Palworld? Instead, they're like, how can we prevent another Palworld situation in the future? Let's sue everyone. Anyway, let's get to some Nintendo fanboys, because Nintendo fanboys sure love to defend their Shin Megami Tensei ripoff over on X. In my experience, Pokemon fans just see it as a Pokemon clone. They have no nuanced thinking whatsoever. No critical thinking skills whatsoever either. They don't actually care one way or another, by the way. It's just typical weirdo fanatics online crying, defending Nintendo for no reason whatsoever. For free, by the way. They're not even getting paid to defend it. It's absolutely sad, pathetic. And we've got one of them to feature right here. I mean, some of these people, I've featured this one loser already on my channel. I mean, just one look at his channel and you just cringe. Anyway, his name is Nintendo Prime, and he says, as people spam Palworld's live play account, I ask again why any of us care, LOL. There are likely 15 million people playing Roblox right now. Nobody seems to care about that, LOL. See, showing the live play account shouldn't affect anybody. It's actually a litmus test. Showing the live play account shouldn't offend you whatsoever, you absolute clown. It's actually a good way of seeing the Nintendo fanboys self-report and get very butthurt about it, and it's just being used to argue online. Are you stupid? Because the entirety of online is arguing with each other. Where have you been? What are you, like 12 years old? You got the mind of a 12-year-old, we know that. Because you're stuck in your childhood yearning for Nintendo Pokemon again. I kinda wish none of us knew that metric. It's being used to argue. I want to let you know that this same clown loves bragging about Nintendo Switch 2 sales. He makes videos about it all the time. But talking about a live play account is too much for him. These guys, I'm talking about the freaks on Twitter, love saying that Palworld is a failure. So yeah, these weirdos definitely care about the play account a lot. They love using Pokemon sales in their arguments. Anyway, it's amazing how diehard Pokemon fans like this can say that Palworld is failing, because Palworld right now has 40 million plus unique players, 2 million simultaneous players in early access, over 960,000 plus simultaneous players during the 1.0 release. They can see all of this and then say with a bold face it's a total failure. These Nintendo fans are a different breed. A different breed of weirdo, alright? I mean, imagine cheering on game design patents like they did during the lawsuit. That's like saying, oh my god, let's cheer on the patent for the Nemesis system in the Middle-earth games. Nobody would say that. But for Nintendo fanboys, they definitely will, to defend their beloved Nintendo. See, I love how Nintendo, by the way, tried to patent using, quote, creatures as mounts. I'm pretty sure the patent holder for using creatures as a mount is the first guy to look at a horse and say, yeah, I can sit on that. Maybe you should go tell the cowboy in a Clint Eastwood Western that he's infringing on Nintendo's rights every time he rides a horse. See, the way Nintendo went after this game is why they'll never ever get another dime from me. And if Palworld officially wins the lawsuit, then hopefully they can revert all the changes Nintendo forced them to make if they can. Because listen, Palworld has done 10 times more for this genre in 2 years than Nintendo has done in like 2 decades. Yet Pokemon fans will still drop thousands, hundreds of dollars every single year on whatever Pokemon schlups come through the door. Anyway, here's an example of the mainstream media crying about it. The Gamer wrote, it isn't a plucky indie game sticking it to AAAs. It's yet another copycat without an original bone in its coding. It's not heralding the death of creativity in gaming either. The CEO is a big AI fan, but with a catalogue of not Breath of the Wild, not Ark, and not Hollow Knight. Is it really shocking that he would endorse a tool that shamelessly rips off artists? And copycats like this are a dime a dozen, not indicative of the industry's future. This is exactly what I mean by the access media. They really said that Palworld doesn't innovate. Meanwhile, the AAA industry as a whole has been doing the same for a decade plus. AAA game companies release the same game for like the 20th time. And the only innovation they've done in the last decade is how to add even more microtransactions. But remember, Palworld is the one with no innovation anyway. As the great Reggie said, if it's not fun, why bother? The former president of Nintendo of America said it perfectly. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Manix out.